And I think what's great about my story is it proves the point of why you should have a podcast. Even though I did it backwards, like I was having so much success with the podcast, it led to an agency. Well, if you have an agency and you go out and do a podcast, you can't help but have it feed your agency. But we did the podcast every week for the first probably 2.5 years. And then the agency just started growing and we started getting a lot of momentum, just growing. Really, we were getting 20 new accounts a month. For the first 7 years, we averaged 20 new accounts a month. Well, first started with me working in the profession and then the podcast. But, scripture says the steps of the righteous are ordered, not the leaps, not the jumps. It's the steps that kind of led down this road. I always teach, build a list of 100 people that could refer, the referral sources. Like that's what you do.
Yes.
You build a list of 100 people that could send you 1 or 2 people a month, and you focus on that, not focus on the people that can be clients, who can feed you clients. And those are the people you have on the podcast. So what if I did that for ChiroCandy? What if I told somebody if they refer 3 chiropractors, and as long as they were active, we did their marketing for free, as long as they had 3 active referrals. I wonder if that would even work. What was crazy is even at our height, when we had like 350 active accounts, we only had 12 people getting free services.
If you had to start from zero today, no list, no niche, and you had to kind of put it all back together, what would your first 30 days look like? What would you do?
I would
So for everybody here tonight, we have a powerhouse guest joining us, Billy Sticker. You may recognize his last name. We had the pleasure of having his son Brady on the Mastermind Friar. If you remember his topic, running ChiroCandy, Brady came and shared with us how he actually closed 108 clients in 1 month. And that was super amazing and cool to be able to hear about. And I'm sure that didn't happen by accident, right? Brady, of course, has built something amazing, but I'm sure that Brady would also share that he learned quite a lot about the agency world by working with his dad inside of ChiroCandy. And I know that his agency's name, ChiroCandy, absolutely is a reflection of his dad's agency, ChiroCandy, right? So Billy has built a 7-figure agency. He's gone through the highs and lows, and I believe at the height, you've had 180 clients at one time, or has it been more than that? Was that the height, or?
Oh no, yeah, we were like 350, I think, at the highest.
350, excellent. So
yeah, like Brady
and
just
the
broke
agency
500, so that's a bunch.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And all in one niche, right? All chiropractors. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. Now, in the chiropractic space, there's, some that do focus on neuropathy or weight loss and some different things under that umbrella. But yeah, pretty much the umbrella of chiropractic's that's our niche.
Excellent. And what makes Billy's story so compelling is he didn't just follow the typical agency path of, I'll do business with anybody and take anybody, right? Committed to one niche, became the authority. And I'm sure Billy can share today about how the chiropractic niche is quite the red ocean and succeeded there, right? Built a referral engine where clients bring more clients, created systems that are dialed in so he can step away from the business and other people can step in and run it. He doesn't have to be there every single day. Leveraged the podcast, built industry influence, ultimately dominates his market. So it's not theory. It's proven. It's a repeatable model for scaling an agency with simplicity, clarity, and focus. So if you're here today, make sure you got a notepad, take good notes, because it is really easy to come here, feel good about what you heard, and then go, all right, I'll see you guys next week. Take some notes, think about how you can be applying this to your agency. So we'll go ahead and start diving in to some of the questions. I would love just to kind of go back to the very, very beginning, right? So tell me, when was it that you started ChiroCandy? What led to you even wanting to start ChiroCandy?
First off, Mike, thanks so much for having me on. It's amazing what you've built, and I think it's incredible. I love how well you guys serve your clients and help them serve their clients. So great stuff. Um, yeah, my story's different than a lot of other agencies. We actually went out and back in 2007, 2008, I worked in office for a chiropractor. So I was the marketer. We had a couple of different locations. I learned the profession. I was really good at it. We doubled the volume in both offices. Uh, but I just wasn't making as much money as I did in my previous career. So I ended up going back to that and ended up getting a couple of consulting clients, here and there. And then actually it was November of 2014. So 11 years ago, started praying about it. And I was like, all right, God, I want to start a podcast. And actually, Pat Flynn and I I don't know if you know, Smart Passive Income, we had gone through some training together back in probably '08, and started our podcast at the same time. I started a marketing podcast for chiropractors in 2008. Uh, Only did like 6 to 8 episodes. I wish I would have stuck with it. But 2014, I'm like, all right, God, I want to do a podcast, but I've got a lot of different things I can do it on. We were in youth ministry for a long time. I sold rare coins for 17 years, gold, platinum, silver, things like that. I wrote a book on leadership. I had different options. Worked for the chiropractor, and I felt the Holy Spirit say, "Well, what have you enjoyed the most? Like, just pick something." I was like, I really enjoyed chiropractic, and I felt, it's almost like the Holy Spirit kind of kicked me on the rear and said, "Okay, go do that." And so we came up with the name ChiroCandy. In I'd say January, I started interviewing people. And then in May, I actually launched the podcast with a bunch of different episodes in the can, built the website myself and all that. And it was just a marketing podcast for chiropractors. And then in October of that year, I was able to quit a 6-figure job because I'd already started replacing my income just from the podcast and these different consulting gigs. And then we started doing Facebook ads for clients. They asked, "Hey, could you help me with Facebook ads?" And so that kind of found us. We didn't go out looking, to start an agency per se. And that's kind of the origin story.
Wow. So that is not the typical story that I hear of. Oh, normally I go, "Oh, I want to start an agency, and yeah, I'm going to build a podcast that's going to support my agency." You started podcasts first. That's pretty cool. So who were some of like the first guests? Like who did you have that kind of, kicked it all off?
Yeah. So it was people in the profession that I knew had influence that I just wanted to interview. And I think what's great about my story is it proves the point of why you should have a podcast. Even though I did it backwards, like I was having so much success with the podcast, it led to an agency. Well, if you have an agency and you go out and do a podcast, you can't help but have it feed your agency. Like I didn't even know that was going to happen. It happened. So you should definitely become an authority. But there was just industry leaders. I started doing research, like who were big names in the profession. And what's great about a podcast too is if you call these people and just said, "Hey, I would love to sit down and just have a call with you, pick your brain." They're not going to get on a call with you. But if you said, "Would you like to come on my podcast? I've got a marketing podcast for chiropractors," or whatever your niche is, I've had one person in almost close to 300, 200 something episodes, that ever asked what my downloads were. And it was because he's like a New York Times bestselling author, and he wanted to know, what he could expect from being on my show. But we did the podcast every week for the first probably 2.5 years. And then the agency just started growing. and we started getting a lot of momentum, just growing we were getting 20 new accounts a month. For the first 7 years, we averaged 20 new accounts a month. And I gave myself permission to lay off the podcast because it was taking up so much of my time. And now we do it again. We had a new episode that came out, last night or yesterday. So we still do it, but we look for, it built my authority in the profession. I remember going to an event and I was talking to the president of one of the largest chiropractic associations. And a couple of people had came up, interrupted us because they wanted to shake his hand. And as we're talking, somebody else comes up and I just assume they're wanting to shake his hand. And they're like, no, actually, Billy, I wanted to shake your hand. I've been listening to your, to your podcast for years. And that was the first time that had ever happened to me. This was probably just a couple of years in. And now, it's just opened the door. It's built us a business that does, multiple 7 figures a year. I speak at all the different industry events. I was just asked to speak at Parker Seminars in Vegas, which is the 75th anniversary. It's the largest chiropractic event in the world, and it'll be my 5th or 6th time speaking for them. So it just opened up a lot, but it all started with the podcast. Well, first started with me working in the profession, and then the podcast. But Scripture says the steps of the righteous are ordered, not the leaps, not the jumps. It's the steps that kind of led down this road.
Amen to that. And so talk to somebody, an agency owner that they probably have heard this concept of having a podcast, and they believe in this idea of they go, wow, Billy did it, and I've heard other people have had successful podcasts that's led to a lot of growth for their agency. What should they expect to have to put into the podcast to, it's not just showing up and interviewing, or is it? Have you built to that, and was that what it was on day one? What kind of team members do they need, or what skills do they need?
Yeah, it was. I kind of know where you're going with this question, and I'd like to pivot a little bit. At first, I did it on myself. I didn't want to pay anybody, because I think a lot of us would kind of go into business thinking that I don't want to pay anybody. I'm just going to do it all myself. And that's one of the reasons we stopped doing it, because I was the one spending 3 or 4 hours a week on this one task. But now I do the interview, and then the team does everything else. And back then, our first 100 or so episodes were just audio. We didn't do video. So even now, like our YouTube channel, it doesn't get hardly any views at all, but we get, it's a very niche, right? We get anywhere from 500 to 1,000 downloads per episode, which may not be huge, but it's my ideal demographic, right? It's people that I'm able to whisper in their ear holes every single episode, and it builds trust. And so when somebody does get on the phone with me, or somebody does, see me in an event or whatever, or now they even get on the phone with my team, because I do sales calls. I kind of got back into it a little bit, but for years I didn't do any. And if I ever would get on a call, it's kind of neat, because they're surprised that I'm on the call. And I don't mean any. I come from a place of humility, not trying to be prideful, but they're just amazed, because I've been in there. They've been listening to me, they've been watching me, they've heard me at these events. So the greatest thing about a podcast is we've all heard of the Dream 100, right? Build a list of 100 people that you want to do business with. Well, I always teach, build a list of 100 people that could refer, the referral sources. Right? That's what you do.
Yes.
You build a list of 100 people that could send you 1 or 2 people a month, and you focus on that, not focus on the people that can be clients, who could feed you clients. And those are the people you have on the podcast. And it's just great. You get FaceTime with them. Even whenever I was just doing an audio podcast, back then we were doing it on Skype, right? I don't know if anybody remembers Skype. We would do it on Skype. And these people, I remember meeting a guy at an event. He's a pretty big name in the profession. And I was like, gosh, I didn't realize you were so tall. He's like, we've met before. I was like, no, just on the podcast. He's like, you're kidding me. We've never, because we had done a couple of podcasts together. But to him, he felt we had met before, and we had done. And we've just
Yeah.
been on Zooms together or Skypes together, So it's a great way to build relationships with people in the profession that can start sending you business. And, depending on what services you're offering, maybe there's something you can offer them, a kickback or even a trial of maybe some of your stuff. So we've done that before. It's like, hey, I'd love to just, even if you're paying you guys, if it's a great enough resource, instead of spending $1,500 a month or whatever on ads, what if you spent that providing services for one client for free, right? They're not paying anything, but they're paying, you that company to do the work for it. Not doesn't have to be forever, like for a month or two, to start getting referrals, to start, building that relationship. So that's one of the strongest things I think about doing a podcast. But I went for a couple of years where I didn't do many episodes, and I was on a call with my leadership team. One of the guys brought it up, and I said, well, let's just open up Libsyn and kind of see what the stats are. And it was on a Tuesday. That day, 30 episodes had been downloaded, and it had been 18 months since we released a show.
Wow.
We had not released a show in 18 months, but 30 people downloaded it that day. And because there's so much of it out there. So I was like, okay, we got to crank this back up. And we don't release one every week, but we normally do, a couple of months typically. So there's a lot of stuff we can talk about. But if you're going to do a podcast, that's the angle, is find those referral sources that you can have on as guests.
I love it. I love it. I mean, that's probably like the number one thing that everybody here gets tired of me preaching about. I go, everybody thinks, oh, let me market to somebody I can do business with. I go, market to somebody, not become a customer, but bring you 5, 10, 15, 20 customers. Like, that makes sense to invest the time 100%. There. So, and
yeah,
the podcast side totally makes sense. So you've shared that the podcast came because of, kind of an experience in the profession and God's guidance of, hey, go here, go do this. The first 5 chiropractic clients, were they referrals from podcast guests? Were they podcast guests? Who were those first 5? Was it some other marketing strategy to get the first? That's the hardest 5, right? Like the hardest clients are the first ones.
Yeah, I would just have some people reach out about some different projects. And I was on the phone with somebody and he's like, hey, have you ever done Facebook ads? And I was like, yeah. And I'd lied. I asked for forgiveness immediately afterwards, but I had never done Facebook ads. I had looked around, but as we're talking, I've got a new tab open. How do you do Facebook ads? And this was like 2015. And he said, man, I've tried. I can't get it to work. I got my ad account shut down. And I said, you know what? Let's give it a try just for a month. I won't charge you anything. Let's just see what we can make happen. He's like, seriously? I said, yeah, let's give it a shot. Well, that month he had like 60 leads come in. And for him, that was incredible because he did neuropathy, which if you know anything about, that niche, neuropathy cases can be anywhere from, probably average about $6,000 a case. So one of those leads is just unbelievably valuable. And he just couldn't believe it. So he referred a couple of people. And then they referred a couple of people. So at first, that's what it was. And then I realized, I'm the dentist with crooked teeth, right? I'm the one doing the stuff, but I'm not doing it for me. I'm marketing for people, but we're not doing any marketing. And so I literally just kind of pulled this number out of my rear. I was like, I'm just going to take, say, 8% of whatever the previous month's revenue was, and that's what I'm going to spend on Facebook ads the next month. And so that's when I went from just basically on referrals to doing, to start doing paid ads. I would just do it on a budget and scaled it up from there.
So talk to us about how you take one customer, make it multiple customers. Is there anything that you did to get more and more referrals? I mean, was it kind of just natural in the beginning and you didn't have a program and then you made a program? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I think at first, I mean, it was Facebook ads, right? People knew they needed to be doing it. It's like AI is now. Like people know they need to be doing something, but they don't know what to do. And that's kind of how Facebook was for a long time. And So there was enough awareness about Facebook out there that when we did start running ads, it was just easy to get clients. It didn't take a whole lot. Uh, so the ads did work. They worked well. And back in, I don't know, probably the early to mid 2000s, I forget the exact years, probably around 2010 or so, we were in a network marketing company. We never did a lot of network marketing, but we were in one called Visalis. Believe it or not, a chiropractor was one of my previous clients, and actually, he's one I did some consulting for, had told me about it. And it was just, if you remember Visalis, it was like protein drinks. That's all it was, just like meal replacement. But they had a program where if you referred 3 people as a client, if you referred 3 people, you got yours for free. And I remember thinking, that is such a cool model. All they have to do is refer 3 and then they get theirs for free. And whenever we started off, I didn't, our first 20 accounts, 20 to 30 accounts, I didn't know we had an agency. Like somebody's like, oh, you have a marketing agency. I was like, no, we just do Facebook ads for these people. And somebody's like, Billy, that's a marketing agency. Like I had no idea. I didn't know. Picking my price, I thought it should take roughly an hour to maybe 2, a month to manage this account, right? We shouldn't have to do too much. So, $500-600, like that's really, I just kind of pulled the number out of my head. Uh, and that's also how we scaled so much. We just did low volume or low price, low ticket, and then high volume. Uh, I don't necessarily recommend it. Like we're actually pivoting now and we're going higher ticket, lower volume. It's just easier on the team, and we can talk about that maybe on another show. But I feel like I'm sharing things. I forgot the exact question.
No, it's okay. The referral model, did it,
Yes,
kind of started
yes, okay.
naturally, and then
No, it actually goes back to Vasalis. Thank you for that. I remember one evening I was like, man, okay, so what if I did that for ChiroCandy? What if I told somebody if they refer 3 chiropractors, and as long as they were active, we did their marketing for free, as long as they had 3 active referrals. I wonder if that would even work. Because chiropractors, they're all in coaching groups together. They went to chiropractic school with a bunch of other people. Like they know a bunch of people in the niche. It's not like, a roofer may not necessarily know tons of other roofers. You may know a couple, but chiropractors typically know, 20 to 50 or more. So I sit down with a notebook pad. I could have done it on an Excel spreadsheet or something, but I just literally wrote it all out. Okay, if I started off with 3 accounts and they all referred 3 people, then there'd be 9. They paid the setup fee, but then every month after that, their stuff was free if they referred. Anyway, I figured it out. In 6 months, we would have 300 and something accounts, and we would still be profitable if everybody referred 3. Like it would work out. And knowing not everybody's gonna do that. And so we tried it. We're like, you know what? Let's give it a try. We'll launch a program. If you refer 3 people, you get your marketing done for free. And if it's not working, we can always cancel it. And we still have people that have been with us. Like we got a client that's been with us since 2017. I think they've paid maybe 5 times over the past, 8 years or so, because they just typically had enough referrals. Every once in a while, they may have somebody cancel. It's like, hey, we got to charge you this month. Okay, I'll get another one, and they'll go get another one for us. But what was crazy is even at our height, when we had like 350 active accounts, we only had 12 people getting free services. 350 and only 12 were getting stuff for free. Because Mike, here's what happens. You're going to have a few people refer 8, 10 people. And you're going to have the majority of the people, if they refer at all, they're going to refer 1, maybe 2. So it actually gives our account reps opportunities to get upsells, because they actually will tell their clients, hey, just letting you know, you have 2 active referrals. If you send us another one, you actually get services for free. And then our account reps have the option to take that sales call, and they'll get commission on it if they want it. So just something else we have set up.
I love it. I love it. So and I'm thinking through this for like our partners, where they mark up our services 50% and they make like a 33% margin. So it might not make sense for you guys to do exactly like 3 and then it's free. Maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5, and maybe it's not forever, maybe it's 1 year, but super solid strategy to go get referrals.
Well, there was somebody else in the profession. They were charging higher ticket than us, and they were paying a percentage back to the referring doctor as long as the clients were active. So you could do something like that. It's like, hey, look, yes, you're paying us, let's say $2,500 a month, but we're going to pay you back $100 a month. For if you send us a referral, we're going to give you $100 a month for every month that person's active. So if you refer us enough people, heck, you might be able to get your stuff for free. You could even do something like that. I know a couple of different agencies that's how they do theirs. It's not like a one-time bonus that they give the clients. They pay the clients, residual on that referral.
Absolutely. Makes sense. So let's see here. What else we got? We got you got pretty strong retention in niche that has churn, right?
It's got a bunch
How
of
do you
churn.
keep chiropractors with you long term beyond just results? Like what do you beyond, results are of course essential for clients, but what else do you do beyond just results that keeps clients going, you know what, I want to stay here?
Yeah, they have to know you care. One of the things you want to do is as you make changes to things, and it's a little bit different whenever you're using a white label service, but anytime, like we tell our people, hey, when you're working on an account, even though you don't have to email the office, or the doctor and tell them, hey, this is what I did, do it. Let them know. Like, let them know, man, these guys they're always working on my account. When people know that you care, they're going to want to stay. But I will say this, Facebook ads, chiropractic, you mentioned a while ago, is a very red ocean. All these people took a Billie Jean course or Dan Henry course on doing Facebook ads, and they said go target chiropractors, and so that's what they did, not knowing anything about the profession. And so anybody with a laptop starts doing Facebook ads for chiropractors. So if you're not getting good results, just know they're getting DMs daily from other companies, wanting their business. So you've got to build great relationships with them. But also too, I think this is something I would definitely do different. I mean, we built a great business, a great lifestyle business, but I would have switched to stickier services sooner. Now we're getting into more SEO and things, which we've done some Google ads for a long time also, websites here and there, but we're getting into those services that are stickier because, I mean, heck, we still have clients that have been with us 7, 8, 9 years. We probably have, I don't know, 50 clients that have been with us over 5 years. So we do have pretty good retention, but the Facebook paid ads is just, there's a lot of churn. So whatever you can do to do the stickier services like what you guys offer is definitely what I would lean more into. And now I think we're seeing more people kind of go back to SEO a little bit because AI is so important. In which AI, I mean, they're getting all their information from solid SEO anyway. People are, it's bringing awareness to how important their SEO is. So now's a great time to be selling SEO services.
Absolutely. And I have absolutely seen the clients that have that mentality of long term, they're thinking about SEO because they know that, hey, this takes a little bit more, I'm not going to get results overnight, right? Whereas the advertising side can be a little bit tougher in terms of churn. The best clients the stickiest of all clients are absolutely omni-channel, right? And where we have them across the board. But that is a client that goes, I have the kind of budget. I know I need to be doing Facebook. I know I need to be doing Google ads. I know I need to be doing SEO. And what's nice when they're omni-channel is if one thing's dipping this week, another thing is doing okay, right? And so there's balance inside of an account. So love to hear that you guys are adding on more and more sticky services, because I think you're going to find that services you well when they're actually across multiple. And so how do you build that relationship with a client outside of just monthly calls? I mean, monthly calls are important. If you have a specific structure of how do you help make sure that
Sure, I'll
your
cover a
people
few
are building
things.
true relationships?
Yeah. One of the things we do, we don't tell anybody about it, but everybody gets a welcome box. It's just part of our SOP. When somebody's onboarded, we use a fulfillment company. It's called City Blueprint out of Kansas City, Wichita, Kansas. They don't show on their website they do any fulfillment services. Just a buddy of mine uses them, and we designed boxes, we designed some merch, and we just send everything to them. They store it for us, and then whenever a new client comes in, our CRM automatically kicks out a contact on a spreadsheet. They get notified and they send out a welcome box. So as soon as somebody signs up, within 4 or 5 days, they get a really cool welcome box with all kinds of cool merch in there. And we've changed it up quite a bit, but it's normally like a really nice Yeti type cup and a couple of our books and just some other cool stuff we put in there. But people are always surprised. Like, our reps get calls all the time, especially from new accounts. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. That it's a very simple thing. It probably, one of the reasons we used somebody in Wichita, Kansas, is because it's the center of the country. So if they want to send something, it's pretty much $18 max to send anywhere in the US. And we know our boxes are anywhere, depending on what all we have in there, they're typically about $50 to $60 worth of merch in there. So $95 covers that first, it covers that box. Is kind of how we look at it. So that's the first thing. And we don't do necessarily a monthly call with clients. Our rhythm is every Monday they get an email. Now, granted, we're not doing, whenever we do SEO, that is a little bit different. That is a monthly report. But on the ad side, every Monday, the account reps send out an email. Hey, Dr. Mike, just giving you a heads up. Here's how everything performed last week. This is what we're seeing on our end. Let me know what all you're seeing on your end. Share any wins with us, whatever. We do ask them to share wins with us because we can use that as testimonials, case studies, things like that. Every other week, they do a 90-second Loom video, and they answer 4 questions. What's working? What's not working? What we did to change, what we changed, and what they can expect, or what we need from them. They're 60 to 90 seconds. They're real short. In our niche, I'm sure a lot of industries, these guys are busy. They're not sitting around waiting to look at these reports. And so the higher level, you can kind of keep it. Hey, this is what, everything's looking good. This is what I'm seeing. They feel, they really like that. Now we get to see when they watch the Loom videos, and sometimes they don't watch the Loom videos. But you know what happens? If they ever call and say, I've been with you guys or I haven't heard anything in the last 6 weeks. No, we've sent you every other week. You get a Loom video, and so they can go back. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, I haven't been watching those. So we do use that a lot because sometimes, we do get calls like that. It's like, no, we've been doing this the whole time. We've been seeing these videos. But just being available. All of our account reps, are here stateside. So, I think that helps. I don't think there's anything wrong with having, account managers or, client facing people in other countries. I think that's okay. But all of ours are right here in the US. They actually all live in Texas. So typically people we knew, went to church with, were friends with, that started working with us.
You do the looms, you got the weekly updates. Any actual like phone calls with the reps or anything of that nature, or what?
Sure. Yep.
Any other things that you want to mention on the relationship side?
Yeah, they have all of the team has their calendar link in their email signature. And so they know the reps can reach out anytime. And even if they call, we typically use Ruby. We're actually switching to just an AI. We're setting up AI for our, our agency right now. So people can just call in, and if the reps are available, they'll hop on a call then. Uh, they tend to be pretty, whatever the clients need, we want them to feel heard and needed. We want to love on them. I also do have you ever heard of gas calls? You ever heard that term before?
Mm,
Uh,
I have.
give give a crap calls, where I just reach out to
Okay.
clients. You know, that's not what the S stands for, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
I got
uh,
it.
yeah, so
I
I just
pieced it.
yeah. Uh, so I'll just reach out to them, and typically I go through the account reps, and I'll pick like, okay, this month I'm going to reach out to all of all of this person's accounts and see if they'll schedule a call with me. I don't have issues with clients having my cell phone. I give my cell phone out. Hey, if you need anything at all, shoot me a message. If I'm busy, I'm not going to be able to return the call. And occasionally there will be somebody that's a little high maintenance, and I'll specifically, after I know I've answered them enough, like where they should feel loved and cared for, I also don't want to train them that they can do it anytime they want and expect me to respond. That's what their account rep is for. But for the most part, I mean, out of literally over the past 11 years, I think we've worked with over 2,000 offices. Um, it's very rarely ever abused. So that makes people feel good too. Oh my goodness, it's Billy's cell phone. Yeah. Or whenever I do call them, or sometimes they'll have an issue, and they schedule a call with their account rep. And whenever we have our leadership calls and our weekly calls, if any of these things come up, sometimes I'll tell the reps, hey, you know what? Let me handle that call. Let me hop on the call or hop on the call with you. And it actually really makes our clients feel well, because I've done a good job building our brand.
Awesome. So talk about the other side. So we talk about getting clients, retaining clients. Well, best things is to avoid. So what are some of those red flags that you see that you and is whether it's you, whether it's a sales team that goes, no, this is not the right fit. How do you make sure you avoid those kind of clients?
I had a call with our sales director just 5 minutes before I got on with you. A potential client that we just knew. He's like, look, I think I'm seeing red flags. And the best way if you want to become the best, you got to work with the best. And it's good to say that on sales calls. It's like, look, we want to be the best company, and we know if we're going to be the best company, the easiest way for us to do that is if we work with the best clients. And in one, that does make the clients feel better. But if they're not a good fit for your offering, if they're struggling in business, yes, they need you. But if they're having a hard time making payroll and paying, like, the last thing you want is somebody that is every single day watching the campaigns and worried why leads aren't coming in and why the phone hasn't rang in 2 days. Like, those are just not people you want to work with. I want to work with the companies that are doing well, and I want to help them do better. They're just better clients. And so those are really the people we go after. And we tell our sales team, look, if you sign somebody up who's not a good fit, and if they're with us for a couple of months, but we realize they shouldn't have been signed up to begin with, we are clawing back your commission. Like, you're gonna pay for that. So make sure whoever you're signing up is somebody that's going to be a good fit for our company. Because whenever we do have clients that aren't good fits, the bad thing about that is when other people talk to that client, they're not going to always say good things about us. So the best way to avoid that is to make sure you're bringing on the good clients or good fits at the beginning.
All right. Everybody hear that? We are not in the business saving business. We don't save businesses. We help them grow. We help them achieve their.
And if you get on the phone with somebody who's been in that business for, let's say 10 years or more, and they're really, really struggling, I mean, there's going to be some things you're going to learn. Like, if we have somebody, okay, I had a referral. So only reason I took the phone call and we even had the phone call to begin with is because it was from a referral from a really good client, a long-term client. I get on the phone with this guy. He's a chiropractor, been in practice over 20 years. He was only seeing 50 patients a week. Now, the KPI kind of in that industry that's a pretty big number for chiropractors is their weekly volume. How many do they see in a week? 150 is probably average. We got some offices seeing 2,000 a week. 50 is not good at all if he's just doing straight chiropractic. Now, if he's doing some of these other niches, decompression, neuropathy, he might have higher case fees. He might be doing okay. So I get on the phone with him. Well, no, he's doing straight chiropractic, only seeing 50 a week, and he's been in practice over 20 years. That tells me there's something wrong with his business, and it's not marketing. He's not doing a good job keeping the patients that he has. They're not sending in referrals. Like there's major flags there. And marketing is not his problem. If we sent him patients, he wouldn't be able to convert them. He wouldn't be able to keep them if he did convert them. So like those are flags that I saw before we took the call. And then when I got on the phone with him and realized he's seeing 50 a week, then he told me that's between two separate offices. What? There's no way. There's no way he's paying his overhead right now, right? He's living out of his savings. And I told him, I said, look, here's the top 3 coaching companies I think would be a good fit for you. I'll make an email introduction to these guys, and I recommended some coaching companies because so those are some red flags. And we don't work with a lot of newer offices unless it's an older chiropractor who is opening up a new practice. Like let's say they had an office in St. Louis and they're moving down to Florida, starting a new office. Like they've got the resources, they've got everything they need. If we get patients in there, they're going to convert them, no issue. That's different. But if it's somebody straight out of school, we typically don't work with those offices.
Got it. One of the metrics that I've regularly taught our partners is most of the businesses, for them to have a chance and be appropriate for us, probably need to have at least 5 employees that they have on staff that they're regularly payroll that they got to go make for them to be the right size. Do you have that kind of a metric as well, of like how many employees they have, or is it more just this patient volume?
It's really typically patient volume and what are they seeing a week, and then what are their collections a month. Like they really need to be 30,000 a month or more, which most offices out there are. But there's a lot of chiropractors. Like there's one that actually I went to for a long time. He was seeing around 220 a week, only working 4 days a week, and he had 1 assistant. Dude, he's got a very healthy, solid business with just 1 employee. So we can't really go off employees. Now we have some people, like we've got a client that right now they have 10 locations. And we have a lot of offices that have multiple locations, but they have 10 locations, and some of their locations have multiple associate doctors in there. So we definitely have some clients that they may have, 50 to, well, I don't know about 50 employees, but, some of those offices, like one office might have 6 or 7 employees. They're a bigger, 7-figure office.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Well, let's take it here, and we'll just wrap up with 2 more questions. Talk to me about, I love to give you a platform to talk about your core values. I know that's essential to you and who you are, and I'm sure the business. Tell me about some of your core values, how it impacts the way you lead and grow your business.
Yeah, thank you. Faith is a big deal. Faith is parenting, like that's kind of all part of it too. And I'm going to tie these two together. I was recently asked to preach on a message on parenting. Our kids are amazing, and sometimes your kids turn out the way they do because of you. Sometimes they turn out that way, in spite of you. But one of the things that I think made a difference in our family was the core value of, some people decide on Saturday night if they're going to church on Sunday. We decided when we got married, we were going to church on Sunday, right? It's not a weekly decision. Like we decided, right? And so that's just a fundamental of who we are. Now, we're going to be out of town this weekend, right? I'm driving Tell the Dragon all weekend for this car rally. I'm not going to church on Sunday. So it's not like a religious thing. It's just just one of those values that were important to us. We travel a lot. We we take typically one trip a month. It may be a long weekend, like what I'm doing right now. We're going to Northern California around Thanksgiving. My wife is actually on a cruise this weekend. We travel a lot, and the reason we work hard is because we want to live a life. We want to be able to go and enjoy this earth, and spend time with the people we care about and we love. We we do like what we do, but we do what we do to help support the people we love. And so it's somebody said to me that is a pastor friend of mine who is just phenomenal. He works with a lot of entrepreneurs, and he said, "Look, it is Christian business owners. Most of us have learned to trust God with our tithe, but we don't trust God with our Sabbath." And when he said that, I was like, "Oh, how good is that?" Right? Because like we feel like we have to grind, and we need to work Sundays, we need to work Saturdays, we need to do all this. No, sometimes you need to stop. You need to stop and take the trip. Take the vacation, do these things. Listen, 92% of the time you're going to spend with your kids happens before they turn 18. Like after they're gone, you don't spend as much time with them as you do when they lived in the house. So take the trips, make those memories, make it a priority. It doesn't have to be expensive. The first, like we made a trip to Italy one time for $480 a ticket. Like you can budget and do these things. So anyway, traveling and spending time with family is a big, big value for us.
Absolutely. Love it. Last, but if there's any other questions that the community has, throw them in. I'll pick out maybe one or two from those. If you had to start from zero today, no list, no niche, and you had to kind of put it all back together, what would your first 30 days look like? What would you do?
I would pick a niche. I'd get on Chat GPT or something and say, okay, what are the different industries and businesses that have the highest lifetime value of a client, right? Where is, if I get them one client, it pays them a lot of money. Like, what are those? Let's list those out. Okay, how can I start building relationship and authority in those niches? Who are the people? Like, what can I do? Uh, so I would pick a niche, and then I would start seeing who builds authority in there. I would find a white label provider because I don't have time to do the work, right? I want somebody like Mike and his team to do the work. I'm going to find a solid provider, and then I'm going to go out and start finding those relationships, people of influence that I can have that'll get me, 5 referrals a month, and do whatever it takes to become, that person. Uh, Look, if you have a really good offer and really good case studies, okay, I'll say this. I wrote a book called The Blessed Entrepreneur. You can get it on Amazon, like Kindle's like 99 cents. But I break down what I call the 5 Ps. And the first half of the book is really about how I feel God says it's okay for you to go out and be successful. Like you can do more good with money than you can without. So that's kind of the first half of the book. The second half of the book is really how we built our agency and how any business grows. You first have to figure out what problem is it that you're going to solve. So most of you guys are solving the or like the lead problem and the marketing problem for businesses. So that's the problem. Then you need to know a product. What's the product you're going to use to solve that problem? And then you need to have a plan. And after the plan, you have to have proof. Once you have proof, once you have a case study, you take that case study and then you go and promote it. So that's the fifth P is promotion. And that was a very, very rapid, rapid fire on the 5 Ps. But that's actually, I would follow that process, but I would do it like I was talking about. Like I would already know the product I'm going to use. And then I would go out and find people that I could build case studies with and that are going to help me promote the business.
Love it. Love it. We do have a question in the chat from Dominique. She says, "Hi, Billy. How are you tracking the active from each? Do you have an affiliate marketing analytics in a platform? Is this just manual? And then there's another question behind that, and is overall, how are you handling the hundreds of clients that you had or have? Yeah, so talk to us about the referrals. How do you track them? Is it a manual thing, or do you have like a system for it?
Yeah, it is manual. Whenever somebody signs up on the agreement, there's a place that says, how did you hear about us? If it was a referral, who referred you? And so the new client puts in who referred them. And so that's what we go by, because sometimes you'll have somebody say, "Hey, I'm the one that referred John," and John's like, "No, Mike referred me." So we go by whatever the client said. And then our billing department, they just keep up with it. We use Airtable for a lot of this, and if they have 3 active clients, they're just what we call them a gold standard. They're a gold client, which means they're not having to pay for that service. And Facebook is pretty much, well, TikTok also. If they have 3 referrals of TikTok clients, they get TikTok for free too. But we don't do free, SEO or websites or anything else. That was just the service we did it on. It was just the Facebook, predominantly Facebook and TikTok. And then the other question was, how do we keep up with them? You build a good team. Like our account managers, on average, handle about 25 to 30 accounts a piece. And one time we had more employees, and they were handling that. And that's how they do it. They have to look at the accounts weekly. They're the ones, they do everything. Is the way we have our stuff set up. They talk to the accounts. They're the clients. They're the ones setting up the ads. They're the ones, like, just everything. They're coming up with the creative. They're building out everything on the ads manager. So those account reps, they also get paid per account they manage, which that's a totally different thing. On average, they're going to make about $150 per account to manage. So if they're managing 20 accounts, what is that? $3,000. They're making a month, working 30 hours a week from home.
We also have Jimmy's hand up. Jimmy, go ahead, unmute. Last question here.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Billy. This is awesome. I'm taking a lot of notes. For the account reps, where do you find them? Because I'm having a hard time finding account reps to help me. They was like, "Oh, well, I don't work on commission. This is not my thing. I need." So how do you,
It's a great question. We've built them. Whenever we first started, we would hire people very part-time. There was people, like I said, that we knew. I remember my wife told me one time, she goes, "Hey, I know we're not hiring anybody yet, but when we do, I really felt God say she's supposed to be the first one." It was somebody we've known for a long time. And whenever she first came to work for us, we're like, "Look, this is what we're doing. It's going to be very part-time, as you learned. We can pay you $500 a month. It's really going to be very, very part-time at first. And then as you get good at this, then we give you some more responsibilities, and we'll bump that up." And that's how we did it for a while, until we got where the company was healthier. And then when we brought somebody on, we may pay them, $1,000 to $1,500 a month part-time, expecting them to manage, a certain amount. So, but we found it's better to have the right people on the bus and then get them in the right seats. So we've just been very fortunate. It's been people that, like I said, we knew, we went to church with, or they went to Bible school with our kids, and they came in that way, and then they learned our company culture, and they're like, "Hey, I know we're looking to hire somebody. I think this person would be a great fit with our company culture." And then the team, actually, they do all the interviewing also. Yeah. I mean, there's been several people we've hired I never even talked to.
Awesome. Do you give them... So Billy, go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mike. So is it the $500 a month plus commission, or?
No, if you're talking about account reps. No, they're just. Are you talking about for sales?
Right.
Oh, for sales. So the way we built our sales team is we actually used account managers to start doing sales because they already knew what we did. They could answer any questions they had, like the client had. I mean, hey, yeah, this is Brady was actually our first salesperson, which I don't know if you listened to Brady's interview whenever he was on here a couple of months back. Uh, but I just told Brady, I recorded a couple of sales calls. I said, listen, you know what we do. Here's how I do sales calls. The main thing is you want to answer these questions right here. Gave him a bit of a framework, but I set up a pre-call video, which was basically before they got on the call with the sales team, they have to watch a video of me going over what makes us different, why we do, how we do it. And so they watch that, then they get on the phone with the sales team. It's really easy for the sales team to just answer a few questions, make sure they're a good fit, and then get them signed up. So that's our process. We used account reps that were already getting paid, and then they would just get paid a commission, as their calendar opened up for that. And then we had a few people transition out of managing accounts to just full-time sales.
Perfect. Wow. Thank you.
All right. Well, and Billy, I'm gonna just note real quick. I heard you drop that "good to great" quote. Right seat, right bus.
Yeah. Jim
Jim
Collins.
Collins fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing amazing wisdom and knowledge with everybody here.
If you need me to do anything else or anything else I can help you guys out with, let me know, and we'll be glad to do this again.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day.